The interview with BJNN is brought to you by Biz Events, connecting the Central New York business community through events.
Hi, I'm Rombel, Editor-in-Chief of the Business Journal News Network. And for today's show, I'm very pleased to welcome our guest, Christina Callahan, who is the Executive Director of the Syracuse Regional Airport Authority, which runs the Syracuse Hancock International Airport. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you, Adam.
Now, you've spent more than 20 years in one shape or form working for the airport and the Syracuse Department of Aviation. Tell us about the roles you've had and how your career has evolved to when you became the Executive Director a few years ago.
It's hard to believe that on August 27th of this year, I will have been at the airport for 21 years. And during that time, I've had, I think, a really amazing, interesting career, and I've also raised a daughter. So the two were my babies, have been my babies for the last 20 plus years. You know, I had no idea when I was hired that August 27th in 1997 that I would have the opportunity to be a part of an industry that is as dynamic, interesting, fast-paced, complex as aviation. And from the moment I kind of immersed myself and started learning about the industry, I realized that it was a place for me. For someone who, you know, the idea of travel and going around the world and visiting amazing places, that's something I've always wanted to do. And being at an airport, which is where those things kind of start and end, was really interesting. And you know, I had, I think sometimes it's not as common as it used to be for people to rise up through the ranks, especially into leadership positions. I started entry level. I worked as a secretary to the person that I would one day replace. Wow. So Charles Everett hired me, and from him I learned so much, what it meant to be a good leader and communicator. And my management style is still very much his management style. And so from there, I was promoted several times, and my dream job was to be the public information officer. I wanted to be the person who could talk about the airport and really, you know, share with the community the great things that we're doing. So once I achieved that role, I was like, this is great. I'm happy to do this for the rest of my career. But then I had an opportunity. Mayor Minor, who put a lot of faith in me, asked me to serve on an interim basis as the airport commissioner, while her search committee conducted the search and looked for what was then Tony Mancuso's replacement. And I was happy to do that. I wanted the experience, and I said, once you've found that person, I'm happy to go back to doing what I was doing. Things kind of happened the way they did, and she offered me the position full-time. And you know, really my job during the interim phase was to ensure that our $60 million terminal security project stayed on budget, stayed on track, that we finished the project successfully. And so I was really grateful to have had that opportunity. And from there, in 2011, when I was appointed the permanent commissioner of aviation, I was tasked with beginning the process of transferring the airport from the city of Syracuse to the then newly created Syracuse Regional Airport Authority. And that was a 3-year project. It took a lot of time. There were a number of agreements to negotiate, and we had to meet with the FAA several times. You know, they needed reassurance that the airport authority would be able to successfully operate the airport. So in 2014, we were very happy to receive the FAA's approval, and they actually came to Syracuse, they came to the airport, and they handed us a license. It's a license, it's in our office hanging. It's gave us the legal right to operate the airport. And then that same year, the airport authority hired me as their executive director. So that's what I've been doing since then.
Excellent, that's quite the journey. Now, just for the layman, the way the airport operates now, rather than being a department of the city of Syracuse, it is governed by a board of directors, and how does that work?
So we are what's considered a local public authority created under the New York State Public Authorities law. We have a board of 11 board members appointed from different constituencies throughout this region. The mayor of the city of Syracuse has 7 appointments, the county executive, the town of DeWitt, the East Syracuse Manoa School District, and then 1 seat is shared on a rotating basis by the towns of Salina, Cicero, Clay, and the North Syracuse School District. So they are our governing body. They have replaced what was the city of Syracuse, the mayor, and the Syracuse Common Council. And they are an independent body. Their sole responsibility is to govern the airport, to establish priorities, to approve budgets, capital programs, authorize lease agreements and contracts. So, they have, in effect, taken the place of the mayor and the Common Council.
So has that provided, because those entities you listed off are more of a regional approach, has that kind of changed the decision making too? It's more of a regional approach as opposed to a city?
Our kind of basic philosophy is we are a regional airport. We serve more than the city, more than the county. Our reach extends into 12 counties surrounding the airport.
In terms of where the flyers come
in terms of where our passengers are coming from. Our passengers are coming from Canada. They're coming from Pennsylvania. They're coming, from all points throughout New York State. And so kind of the basic philosophy was we are a regional airport. We're going to think big. We're going to run the airport like a business. We're going to not be reactive but proactive and really think about what do we want the airport to be. When you look at our mission statement, the first sentence you'll read says to run a safe and secure airport. That is the top priority. But as an economic engine, as a driver of growth in the area, we want more service to more destinations, lower fares, more airlines. We not only transport people, but we also transport cargo. We have 2 fixed base operators at the airport who bring in private aviation and general aviation. We share our airport with the 174th New York, the attack wing of the New York Air National Guard. So we have that relationship. And when you think about the complexity of the airport and what we do and how we support business, colleges, universities, leisure travel, we are a great employer, not only the airport authority, but airlines and car rental agencies and concession providers. So we're like a little city within a city in a lot of ways.
It's its own economy. I mean, do you guys have a report that quantifies the economic impact of the airport on the area?
We do. New York State did a great job a few years ago. The Aviation Bureau developed a report on the economic impact of all of the airports in New York State, of which there are many, some of them being, the JFK, one of the largest airports in the world. And what was clear to all of us is the importance that airports have in the local economy. And what's interesting is when you look at how we are structured, we are a self-sustaining entity. So what that means is our operation is funded not by levying taxes, property taxes, but based on the revenue that we generate at the airport. So the parking revenue, the concession revenue, the rents that our tenants pay us. We truly operate as a self-sufficient entity, which I think is very unique. We are kind of like a not-for-profit, but not really. So we pay for all of our roads to be plowed and our fire services and our police services. We are funding those operations directly, again, kind of like a city would. And
so you maintain a balanced budget?
We do, and we have a very unique arrangement. When you think about it, the airlines are our most important partner, and they have the greatest financial stake in the success of the airport. So we derive a lot of our revenue from the airlines. When we have a profit or a surplus at the end of the year, they're the beneficiaries of that, and thankfully, things have been good for the last few years, and enplanements are up, activity is up, concession sales are up. We have a lot of new service, and I think we are. This is going to be a historic moment for the airport.
I was going to get into that in terms of the growth. You've had quite a few announcements of airlines coming in. What do you think has been? Why have you been able to have the success here lately in the last few years, where in the past maybe we didn't have that? In terms of getting airlines to come to Syracuse and start service here. Has the authority played a role in that, or is it some other factor?
I think it's a combination of factors. And the airlines are a for-profit industry. Sure. They are in it to make money, and when they are looking at their networks and they're thinking about opportunities, they want to know that if they park a plane and they put a plane in Syracuse, that it's going to perform well, that the route is going to be profitable. And as we were looking, as the authority was identifying its priorities, lowering costs at the airport was at the top of the list. And we had a number of initiatives that we took on to help reduce costs, because those then get passed on or don't get passed on, as it were, to the airlines. And so I think that was part of it. We were able to show the airlines a long-term financial plan that they could rely on, knowing that their rates and charges would not fluctuate, would be steady for the foreseeable future. We really started promoting what we call our catchment area, and the fact that our airport is located in the center of New York State, geographically, being located on two major interstates, easy access to the airport, where we could serve within a 2-hour drive millions of people, was something that we started really promoting to the airlines, because I don't think they quite appreciated how large our catchment area is. And then, we are with the airlines, we meet with them several times a year, and we're promoting our market, our catchment area. The fact that we have Canadians who are driving to Syracuse to shop, but also to fly. And so that was part of it. Having a facility like ours, where we've invested money into the facility, where we've built
two major projects,
absolutely. Right? Building a new centralized security checkpoint not only dealt with the congestion issues that we were seeing at the airport prior to that, but has now, we have the ability to grow and implement pre-check and other types of services that passengers are looking for. So I really think it's been a combination of a number of factors that led Allegiant to decide to enter the market in 2014. Now they're serving 5 cities. And then earlier this year, we were really thrilled when Frontier announced that they would be launching service to markets we've never served before, Denver, Raleigh-Durham, and additional service to Orlando and Chicago. What drives fares is competition, or the lack of competition. So for us, it was really important to bring in more service to more destinations, introduce competition. The low-cost carriers like Allegiant and Frontier offer a unique product. May not be for everyone, but we still have great service from our legacy carriers like Delta and American and United, and we have JetBlue and Air Canada. So to have 7 airlines with direct nonstop service to 21 cities is, as I said before, this is a historic time, and I think one that will is guiding us as we move forward and thinking about our strategy for what's next.
And do you think you can keep that momentum going?
I think we can. I think the airport doesn't operate in a bubble. We are very much dependent on the the region that we serve. So whether it's the business community or leisure travel, we partner with organizations like Center State and MACNY because it's important that we understand what their members are looking for, but it has to be a partnership because without the people, we're not filling airplanes. And so it's very important that we understand what the community needs and that they too are our partner, and in fact sitting at the table with us when we meet with the airlines, which is something that we started doing a few years ago, working with Rob Simpson at Center State.
Very good. Thank you so much for joining us today,
Thank you
Christina.
very much.